If you haven't heard of the Sarah Boone Suitcase murderer, you will now. She's been charged with second-degree murder, and her defense is battered spouse syndrome, previously known as battered woman syndrome. So this is a defense in America where if there's a long history of domestic abuse or violence, then you can use it as a defense. And we're going to look at the equivalent defense in the UK. But first, let me tell you about a case I had a few years ago before we get into this case. So I get a call from this client. She's about 78 years old. I should say it was probably 12 years ago. But anyway, she's in a complete state of panic. And she starts out, I found you on the internet, and I really, really hope you can help me. Because, well, we're having a lovely dinner to celebrate our 60th anniversary being married. And can you believe this? He's chatting up the waitress. She's like 20 years old. I was so humiliated. He always treats me like this, like I don't exist. He's so abusive, like I'm not even there. So, do you know what I did? Now, at this point, she's in such a panic, I just want to calm her down. But while she's going on and on, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking of that movie, Prince of Tides, where Nick Nolte is remembering how abusive his father was. And out of revenge, his mother feeds his father dog food. He goes for therapy later in life and has an affair with Barbara Streisand. She is his therapist, and they fall in love. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, she's had an affair. Or what has she done? What has she done? So before I could say anything, she said, I'll tell you what I did, Karen, but you've got to help me. My whole family isn't talking to me now. So if you want to know what she did, well, I'll tell you in a bit. I thought I'd heard everything when this woman, who was married for 60 years, told me what she had done and what had happened as a result. I couldn't help but think life is stranger than fiction. And the reason Sarah Boone gave to the police as to why her boyfriend was in the suitcase in the first place had to be up there with, this can't be for real. So let's get into it. So let's watch a part of the clip where Sarah Boone is being interrogated at the police station. If you've not heard the background, I'll set this clip up a bit, as prior to this, she has told the police officers that her and her boyfriend were playing a game of hide and seek, and he had gotten into the suitcase himself. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Now I've heard it all. This is so crazy. It can't be real. So she goes on to say that the zipper on the suitcase was not all the way up, so he could breathe and get out if he wanted to. But she took a videotape of this incident. During this game of so-called hide and seek. And it gets worse. She decides to go to bed while he's still in the suitcase. And when she woke up in the morning, she found him still in the suitcase, non-responsive. So she called her ex-husband and asked him what she should do. She thought he wasn't breathing, so he told her to call 911, which is 999 in the UK, emergency services. So she does this, and they tell her to do CPR. Unfortunately, he had smothered to death in the suitcase. So let's listen to the bit of the clip. That's almost 2 hours long, so you should watch it yourself if you want to. Then after that, I want to introduce you to the Behaviourial Panel, as they put this all into perspective. And then we can discuss a battered woman defense in the UK, which has an interesting twist. And I'll finish up with what my client said. So let's watch a bit of the clip so we can get a feel. Oh, and I want you to keep in mind what she is trying to tell the police, because she's trying to say that there's a history of domestic violence. And what do you think? Is she trying to set up that she is a battered woman and has battered woman syndrome? Or is it revenge, just getting back at him for all the times he abused her? Or did she really think he could escape? So have those thoughts in your mind while you're watching.
And life in general and ex-wives and everything. It's been good. Like, I don't even know where this is coming from.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
said
even
the
know.
last physical was probably, you said, I think, what, a month ago? Where you got the injury, right? You said that was a month ago?
A few weeks, give or take, yeah.
A few weeks. That was the last, like, physical altercation between the two of you? Yeah, you said a month ago he hit you with a curtain rod.
Yeah, with a curtain rod. That's why I can't believe you guys didn't take that either.
Wow.
I continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
It's that long?
2 minutes.
No.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
And this
Fuck
is,
you.
that's you, your voice.
Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Don't know who Chris Noth is, go look at all the cop shows, and he dresses all kinds of wild ways. This guy looks a lot like him, and maybe that's why he's dressing the part. They're here to argue, not interrogate. She leans into the evidence. I love it. She leans over to look at the evidence, and they don't lean on her then. She uses that my plan. That's a push-pull word. Anytime you use something like my plan, I thought there was no plan. Then's when I go, why did you leave a hole? Why'd you leave a hole? Because you needed air? Then why'd you go upstairs? You can't have both of those. They're not congruent. So you put her at odds with self, and then you go back after it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. If you don't know who we are, we're the Behavior Panel, and I'm Scott Rouse. I'm a body language expert and analyst, and I train law enforcement in the military in interrogation and body language. And I created the #1 online body language course, Body Language Tactics, with Greg Hartley. Mark?
I'm Mark Bowden. I'm an expert in human behavior and body language, help people all over the world to stand out, win trust, and gain credibility every time they communicate, including some of the leaders of the G7. Chase.
Hey, I'm Chase Hughes. I did 20 years in the U.S. military, wrote the #1 best-selling book on behavior profiling, persuasion, and influence, and I change people's lives teaching those things today. Greg
Hartley. I'm a former Army interrogator, interrogation instructor, resistance to interrogation instructor. Written 10 books on body language and behavior, and put together that #1 body language course at bodylanguagetactics.com with Scott Rouse.
Mark said shit.
Yeah, this is some of the worst I've ever seen. You know what I wonder? Do they think this video is enough? They don't need her to say anything.
The behavioral panel make very good points about the evidence of her recording the incident. Remember, it's over 2 minutes long, and I've only played a very short clip. The behavioral panel go through several of the police interrogation clips, and then they analyze them. So check them out. And the first 2 clips that I played are on the Law and Crime Network. If you want to watch them in full, all the links are in my description area. There was an update in this Sarah Boone's case. Her attorney the other day said that they needed a continuance to get experts to examine her for a battered spouse defense. The pre-trial is in March, then a trial will start sometime in April 2023. So in the UK, cases in the Crown Court are only heard by juries. So there is no choice to be heard by a judge, which I think is a different twist to America. And when a person is charged with murder, the jury can come back with a manslaughter verdict, as the judge gives instructions to the jury. Note, this area of law is very complicated, and get legal advice if you need, if you're ever in this situation. So I'm only trying to simplify and answer in a nutshell. Is there a defense known as battered woman or spouse syndrome? So using this idea of the final straw, meaning the victim was not at the time being attacked. There was no immediate threat. Basically saying the defendant's actions or lack thereof resulted in the other person dying. And in this case, against Sarah Boone, she just left him to fend for himself. She is using this defense of having a long history of domestic violence to diminish her responsibility. Remember, she said she thought he was crying wolf when he said he could not breathe. She said there was a gap for air and he could unzip himself. In my view, as soon as he said he could not breathe, she had a responsibility to help him out. And she recorded herself saying, "This is basically payback." And she goes on to say, "Now you know what it feels like when you choke me." In the UK, we have a loss of control partial defense. And in a research paper I read, which you can find in the description area, regarding domestic violence cases, most victims attack when things appear to be calm. And Sarah Boone was saying everything was good between them for about a month or so. And in cases where there is a delayed reaction, this time delay will need to be considered. Was there time for reflection? The longer the time delayed, it is more likely that the motivation is for revenge rather than loss of control. Each case will have to be decided on their own facts. And in the UK, juries can view medical reports within mitigating factors, and manslaughter can be committed if the conduct was grossly negligent, given the risk of death. So, what do you think? Leave a comment. So, are you still curious to know what my client did that caused her family not to talk to her, and why I was surprised at what resulted in her actions? Well, she filed for divorce after 60 years of marriage on Valentine's Day. And she called me because the application for the petition for divorce was rejected by the court, as the judge did not believe her marriage had broken down irretrievably on any of the grounds, and said they were insufficient. Can you believe it? Her choices were to either wait 2 years for a 2-year separation with his agreement, or wait 5 years without. She said, "I'm not waiting. How dare the court not grant me a divorce?" So I said, "We can try to amend your statement with more details." She thought this would alienate her grown children even more, as she did not want to say bad things about their father. She told me, "Let's do it. I don't want to be a victim anymore." So we aired all their dirty laundry, and the court granted her divorce. Very sad. But thankfully, divorce laws changed, and we now have a no-fault divorce system. I truly could not believe, given her age and the abuse she suffered, she just simply had, it was like the final straw. She couldn't take it anymore. I have not kept in touch with her, but I often wonder if she was still with us when the laws changed to no fault, as it was very emotional for her to do that statement, to write down all of the incidents, dates, and particulars. This was so unnecessary in my view. And unfortunately, this practice still goes on in child matter cases where one parent alleges abuse to prevent the other parent from seeing their children. Well, I hope you found today's video interesting, and information is power. Why not subscribe and watch more of our videos? If you need legal help, contact legal-minded friends. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up.